Welcome back to another episode of the Japan Trip Wrap Up series. This is a culmination of the entire Road to Fuji vlog series, where I took 6 months and I vlogged every week. Part of it was workouts, a lot of it was disappointment for not working out, and of course, the reasons why I wanted to visit Japan. On this episode, I'm going to recap my trip to Kyoto. I rode my first Shinkansen. Just got a seat, and this is a little stressful. I visited the Gion district, and this was right as Gion Matsuri was ending, so I didn't get to see the things that I wanted to see due to more poor planning. I also had some great Okonomiyaki. I also got to visit Hagashi Honganji Temple, which is a Buddhist temple. So even though I didn't get to summit Mount Fuji, I did get to summit one mountain, and it was all thanks to visiting the 10,000 Torii gates of Fushimi Inari Shrine. So on this episode, we're going to recap these experiences in Kyoto and maybe some more food. So when I got to Kyoto, it is definitely a slower pace and more traditional setting than what I found in Tokyo. I of course had to stop by the Imperial Palace in Kyoto. Where I met a nice fellow. I think his name was Daido. He was very, very nice. He came and asked if he could sit next to me while I rested on a bench outside of the visitor center at the Imperial Palace. I had already walked basically around the entire grounds, and it was a long walk. So he approached me and he says, "Hey, may I sit here?" And I said, "Yes, of course. You're welcome to sit there." And he grabbed my hand with two hands and shook my hand and introduced himself, and then proceeded to ask me very let me practice my English kind of questions, like, where are you from? What do you like to do? Do you like books or movies and that kind of thing? I showed him my tattoos. I have an arm of tattoos that it's not completely filled yet, but it's all books. So he was very interested in the tattoos that I had, and he complimented me on those. And he was a very, very nice fella. He was very appreciative of my time and speaking to him, and I really appreciated him coming over to just give me the experience of speaking a little English. I realized from that moment I was kind of getting homesick for my preferred language. So that night I went to a place called the Pig and Whistle. It was a English pub kind of place, and I talked with the staff there, who were extremely English friendly and very, very, very well spoken in English. They were probably some of the most accomplished English users that were native Japanese that I met on the whole trip. I also visited Yasaka Shrine. That's in the Gion district, and which is a very much more traditional district. It's if I'm not mistaken, it is the traditional geisha district of Kyoto. And it was really cool. Being a shrine instead of a temple, temples are Buddhist and shrines are Shinto. It was really neat though. The grounds were very large. It was at the end of the main street there that kind of led away from the train station and all of that, and it had a lot of different stuff on the way. And the street kind of tees off with another street, and then it's across at that T. It didn't look like much from the outside. It had some really cool. I think they still call them foo dogs, even though I think foo dog is more of a Chinese thing. I don't know. But to me, it's a food dog, and you know what I'm talking about, hopefully, whenever I say that. They had some really cool statues of those out front, and I was just enamored. I mean, they were really, really, really cool looking. So then when I went in, the grounds just spread out, and they were everywhere, like little stone pathways and stuff like that. And there was this great little pavilion kind of thing with lanterns just stacked everywhere, hanging from the awning all the way around it. Really, really cool. Really good experience. So I, of course, walked around the grounds and appreciated as much as I could.
This is a black honey, and I think it's called kinako or kinakiko. It's essentially the powder that they put on the outside of soft mochi, so that it doesn't stick together with the other pieces, and it's on soft serve. Let's try this out. And that's pretty amazing. I don't know what makes the honey a black honey, but it's like a nutty, toastier honey. I don't know. Delicious.
And then went ahead and headed back when I caught a whiff of something delicious. And whenever I turned the corner and kind of followed my nose all Toucan Sam style, I found this awesome little place that served okonomiyaki. And okonomiyaki is kind of a pancake omelet, cabbagey fish flake kind of thing. It's not it's not anything I can really compare. Any one thing I can really compare it to that's in the Western diet. I think I've got a picture of the menu, and it's it's just one thing on the menu at this one place. It's you order what you order, and that's it. Now they had some drinks on the menu that were different. You could have a couple of different beers, some cocktails. I had a cold cream matcha drink, and that was really really good. It was a very strong with the matcha, and it looked like you were drinking algae in a glass, but it was delicious. It was one of those things that you had to kind of drink back and forth, that and then some water, almost like really really strong coffee. Um, but it was really good, and the okonomiyaki was fantastic. That was great. The weird thing is the place had a unusual decor.
So good. That's creeping me out.
Um, the little guy out front, his little thing was there, and then on the inside, at some of the tables, they had other little statues of geisha that were sitting at the tables with people. Or I guess if the place was more packed, it would have been with people. But one of them kept giving me the crazy eye, and that was weird. It weirded me out pretty good. Also, I did have to change my plans on around this time. By the time I got back, it was much hotter in Kyoto. By the time I got back to my Airbnb, it was a traditional ryokan.
Here's the new room. Not as luxurious as the last, but it's okay. It's more traditional, and I'm looking forward to it.
And when I got there, it was a long hallway with rooms on either side of the hallway. And in the hallway, there was a air conditioner up at the top of the hallway on one side and the other side. One of those was on, and the manager owner guy was cleaning up some of the rooms. He showed me to my room. He sat me in front of one of the air conditioners. I ate my bento box, my ekiben bento box that I got for the train. Eki is train, and ben is short for bento. So it's kind of like Pokemon, Pocket Monster. They like to shorten stuff. I was eating an ekiben. And I ate my ekiben for my lunch, and I put my stuff up, and I kind of walked around. I did a few things, spent the night, had a kind of an adventurous day the next day, looking around Kyoto. And I was hot, and I was tired. I was thinking, man, I know that AC wasn't like super strong, but I need to go and have a rest. I woke up that morning whenever I went out, and I was concerned a little bit. And part of me wanting to go back, I think, was also trying to see if something had changed. Because when I got up in the morning, the remote that they have, because over there they have remote controls for the AC, and they're just like individual units up on the wall that blow. It's not like central AC that we have here in the States. Um, the remote was gone. The thermometer said 30, like it was right between 30 and 31 degrees. Now roughly that's like 90-ish degrees, or just over, for Fahrenheit, what we're used to. That was when I left that morning. That was 8 a.m. The heat hit me so hard when I got to the top of the stairs. I didn't even check the actual temperature when I went back. I think it was like 2 in the afternoon. It was hot, and the doors and windows were open, and the AC was still off. Yeah. So nothing had ran all night long. Nothing had ran all through the day. Essentially, no air conditioning since the manager left. And for all intents and purposes, it looked like he took the remote with him. So even though the listing said it had AC, and that was mandatory for me because I was going in the summertime, I had to have AC. I'm sitting there lying on a pallet, on tatami mats and pallet, and I'm starting to panic. My heart rate is up because I have on my watch. I can see that. My heart rate was up. My breathing was up. I was actually getting teary eyed, just worrying about what kind of state I was going to be in at this place. I was in a panic state essentially, and I wasn't thinking clearly, and I knew I had to get out of there. I mean, this is the kind of thing that you can have a heat stroke if you stay too long in. It was a second floor. It was hot. What are you gonna do?
That was a cool experience, and that was the only thing cool about it. Last night was a scorching hot box sauna in that room. And today I tried to go back to have a little rest. I could barely breathe. Coming back to it and it being, 90 plus in there and no AC on. And the doors and windows and stuff were open as if it was like, oh yeah, we'll just get across, breathe, it's fine. Anyway, I had to go. I couldn't do it. A quarter mile away, there's a little tiny guest house style hotel, and it was approximately the same cost to stay here as it was to stay there. And I didn't find it when I was out of the country, but I found it this time after about 2 hours.
I assume that I'm just spoiled, but yeah. I found another place. I packed all of my stuff up. I walked. I think it was like 6 blocks away, and I was very, very thankful to have it. After getting a great night's rest with air conditioning, I headed over to kind of central downtown, middle of Kyoto, to Higashi Honganji Temple. This being a temple, it was Buddhist. It was fantastic, completely serene. I mean, there was gravel all out in front, and then they had these big crate boxes with bags that they would give you to put your shoes in, and then as you walked around the complex, any of the buildings were actually joined by little bridges and things like that. You were in your socks the whole time. There was even kind of a museum of how they rebuilt the whole structure. I mean, it was gigantic. Um, and all of that was attached too. So you were in your socks. I mean, everywhere you went except for the courtyard. Uh, just such a unique experience, and definitely what I needed after all of the stress that I had in the 24 hours before it. That night, I treated myself to a few beers and some traditional-ish kind of pub food, or bar food that they had there. It was a mix of pub and bar because of where I was, and it was fried mochi. So it was unsweetened rice gummy candy kind of stuff, and sausage. It was kind of like cheese curds and sausage, like fried cheese curds and sausage. It was really good. I found this great little breakfast place right across the street from the guest house that I was staying in. And it was the most adorable little cups of coffee, and like the spoon was like that long, and they on the saucer that the coffee came on, it had a little thing of little, I mean, like little um, metal pitcher for milk, and that was your cream, or cream, and that was for your coffee. I mean, it was just adorable, and the breakfast was great. It felt healthy and proper portioned. It was a lovely little salad with a sesame dressing kind of thing on it, and then they had a boiled egg and some amazing, like ridiculously good toast. It was just toast. It was just buttered toast, but oh man, there's something about it that was just great. So even though I didn't summit Mount Fuji, I did summit Inari, and that was in Kyoto as well. If you've heard about the 10,000 Torii gates, and you've seen pictures, and they just go on forever, well, I went there.
So I'm walking up the 1,000 Torii gates right now. Pretty cool. I just saw a warning about if you see a monkey, stay away from it. Definitely don't want to get my ass kicked by the monkey. I think we've all seen the rundown. If The Rock can't stand up to it, then I can't either.
It's the shrine itself is Fushimi Inari, and the big shrine for Fushimi Inari is really at the base of the mountain. It's where you enter. And there are where there were food dogs, a lot of the other places for statues, for like guardians for the different temples or shrines or whatnot. This one had a lot of like foxes, and it's really cool. My wife loves foxes. I like foxes a lot. My wife loves foxes, and so it was really special for me to be able to see, the difference there. It was something unique, because of the 10,000 Torii gates. It is a big touristy area, but it was super enjoyable to be able to experience all the little mini shrines. I mean, they were just piled on top of each other all over the place as you went up the mountain. Had a really cool shot of Kyoto from one of the vantage points almost at the top of the mountain. And I did make it to the summit. But there really wasn't much to see because it was kind of in the middle of a forest. So there was the one spot where I could look out over the city, but that's just not the way the summit was. I did make it to the top though, and I did pay my respects to the shrines at the top. From that point, I really felt like Kyoto had welcomed me. I was used to my surroundings. I was used to the language barrier from being in Tokyo, and I was really settling in for my stay. Next episode, we'll be talking about my attempt to visit Dogo Onsen and also, looking around Dotonbori in Osaka, and then I traveled all the way back to Tokyo to get ready to come back home. But I still had a couple of days to stay and buy souvenirs or do whatever else I wanted to do. And of course, there was some drama when I got back to Tokyo as well. So if you enjoyed this content, please like this video, consider subscribing if you're not already, and share if you feel like this is something that others would enjoy. I put out videos at least once a week, and this is a culmination of a long series that I've put together that was my preparation for this journey. And once this is done, I'm going to move over to strictly model building and talking about Gunpla, or Gundam models made by Bandai. There may be some other things mixed in there, but it'll really be about the hobby. I really hope that you follow me and on this adventure, and keep on keeping up with me while I do this transition, because this really culminated all of the effort for the last 6 months that I've really tried to struggle to do, and really all of the intention and the dream that I had for about the last 20 years to make it to Japan, and I finally did it. So I'm really excited about it. I am really thankful for all of you. I recently hit 100 subscribers, and that may not be a lot to most people, but it means the world to me. So until next time, keep on daydreaming, because I did, and look where it took me. Halfway across the world and on a great adventure. I'm Justin, your ragtag daydreamer, and I'll see you next time.